Hello friends, welcome to part 9 of the series of React Redux, and this is also the final part, and we are going to see the one of the most important thing in this part, which is doing async action through Redux, and for which we use the Redux Thunk middleware. Okay, so we are going to see that. So let's get started. And first thing, this I am using my old project only. In my components I will go and I will create a new component file known as user container dot, and kindly go through my complete series. This is 8 videos before this, so you will understand Redux completely, and it is very beginner friendly. Only the prerequisite is that you should know Redux. React the old way, the class based way, is much better to know. Okay, but we mainly use functional components here, but it can be applied to class based also. And because Redux is very much relevant in today's world also. Okay, so users is there, and just simple container right now, and we'll soon complete it. Then we are again going to create all those things like the user types, action, and reducer. So for that, as I have told earlier also, the pattern which I am following is Redux folder. Inside a Redux folder we have for chicken, for egg, which I have earlier created, and now we are going to have a folder for user also. Okay, and then inside that folder I will make first the first thing which I will make is user types, that constant types dot js. So like this, and then export const. We are going to have 3 different states in this, and generally this is the pattern which we follow. Fetch users request equal to fetch users request, and the second one will be fetch users success, and it will be fetch users success, and fetch users failure, it will be fetch users failure, like this. So let me save it. Okay, so after that let us go to the action now. Me even okay, so for that action it will be user actions dot js. Okay, and then we have to first import all those things from our file. So comma and failure also. Okay, and then from the same folder we have this user types, so I am importing it from here. And then this action creators, as with our earlier action creators, see this, if I say this action creator, we are having only one action creator, but here we'll have 3 action creators. Okay, so the first one will be export const fetch users request equal to an arrow function, return, just have a type right now, type in this, return fetch users request. Let me copy it 2 times, but we are going to have payloads also there. Fetch users request, then fetch users success, users, and then fetch users success, payload will be this users, which you will soon have, and then error, and I should not forget to make it failure, because these things I sometimes while copy pasting I forgot to do this, and this causes huge problem. Payload is error, payload will be error. Okay, so our action is done. Now the thing is that we have to make our reducer. So like reducer, again here we were having not only one case, now we'll have 3 case, and we'll see the real use of reducer. Okay, so the switch case in reducer. So user reducer.js don't be, and we are going to have the same thing. So control C, control V, and const initial state equal to loading is false, and users, this array, it will be an empty array, and error will be a error will be a empty string. So this is our initial state. See this loading, generally in most of the cases when you do an API call, it takes some time, so we show loading spinner, means for a second or two. Okay, so generally it takes 1 second to get the data from the API. Okay, so we can show the loading spinner at that time. Const reducer equal to state will be equal to initial state, comma, action, like this, switch action dot type, and case will be fetch users request, return dot state. So this time it will be really useful because we have 3 state. So when user request is there, I am only using this loading thing, and users and error state will be same. So dot state, we are using this spread operator to spread it. Loading is true. Okay, so then the next, let me write it, because previous time I have made a lot of mistakes here. This will be fetch user success, and return will be loading will be false. We'll make the loading as false because now we have got the data. So this we will fire when we will fire to the API. We'll soon see that. And this we will, when the API returns us the result, and this we will get. Okay, and or so when you hit an API, either the server sends us a success or a failure. So if it sends us a success, this will be fired, and we will soon see how we are going to do that. Users is action dot payload. Okay, action dot payload is there, and error state is an empty string. Okay, and then case fetch users failure, and return is loading is false here also, because we got something but we didn't got our users array, and then but we will get something in the error will be action not payload. Okay, so this is there, and then after that our default state we have to do. Default will be return state. Okay, and the last thing we have to do, we have to export this. Export default reducer. We have to do save this file, and now one thing more we have to do, we have created this user action. So this action we have to pass it through here. The index is there, we have to export it from here. Okay, so export from user, comma, I want the user action, and from where I want it, yeah, from the action. So not this, comma, like this, save it, exported. Oh, see, I got my first thing which I have got done wrong. So this is very good. I catch that error. This is not fetch users request actually. See, this happens when I copy paste. This is failure. Okay, so this is failure. Now it is okay. So that was a good thing to catch that error, or else it would have caused me a lot of problems. Okay, so now we have to go to the this we had done for the action. Now we have to do one thing for the reducer also. So we will go to this root reducer. Okay, so this root reducer, and now we have to take our user reducer and add it here. Okay, import user reducer. Not like this, sometimes it gives too much. User reducer from user reducer and like this, comma, user and user reducer, which we have just imported. So this we have to do here, root reducer, and close this file. And now to do API request, what it does means we generally do it through Axios. Axios is a library, because we get a promise back. And if you want to see this, you can see my earlier JavaScript series. In that I have taught everything, like async and everything. So this promise thing is there. For that we cannot do it directly, we need something known as Axios. And for Axios also we need, and in a Redux based system we need something known as Thunk. Redux Thunk. So Redux we cannot do direct also, because that we want a middleware, and as I have told earlier, the middleware, it sits here between action and reducer, which is required when you do Async-action, because just like React and Redux also, everything happens so quickly that it won't wait for that API call to happen. Okay, so but we have to make it wait. So for that we are not make our whole system wait, but we have to, when the action is dispatched from the action creator, it goes to the reducer, but the Redux Thunk will will make it wait, and then only it will go to the reducer. So for that, see, my, as I have told earlier, this is running, and user reducer dot act is defined. What is act? What is this? As I told earlier, sometimes many things get imported. Okay, so this is running. I want to install something, so the better way is to install it in a different terminal, and the best terminal is our integrated terminal to install it. So we can start it with the control J or command J in Mac. So control J, so it should be in this right folder. So let me clear it first, and I will do, and I have to do npm install of two things. So npm I have to do Axios, and I have to do Redux Thunk. So this Thunk middleware I have to do Redux Thunk, Axios, and Redux Thunk. Okay, and this will get stored, Axios and Redux Thunk. So let me close some of them. Okay, so both of got installed quickly. So I can control J, I will do, and then we have to, as you know, from where we will add the middleware, we have to go to the store. So this all we have in a store. We have something known as logger middleware already. Okay, so we have to first import Thunk from Redux Thunk, we have to do. Okay, and then Thunk. So we can use as many middleware as required in this apply middleware. Okay, so Thunk, we have used it here. Let me save it, and now we will go back to our user actions. I don't require this anymore. User actions action we have will do. So we have fetch users request, fetch user success, and fetch users failure. But we will have a common function which will use all this actually. So let me do that. Export const fetch users equal to an arrow function. Okay, and then return dispatch, again an arrow function, and dispatch. Now we will dispatch. So the first time we will dispatch from here only, as I was telling you. First time we will dispatch this user request. Okay, and then we are going to use Axios. So for Axios use, let me import it also. Import Axios from Axios. Okay, so we have installed this also. So fetch users is there, then Axios dot get, from where, what we are going to get, we are going to get JSON placeholder. So this is the free to use fake online REST API for testing and prototyping. So any endpoint if you hit, we will get a request. So we have this your get request, post, all those things are there. So we will do a get request to this endpoint, this users endpoint, and when we do a get request to this users endpoint, we will get an array of object, and there are 10 users information. So this is how we actually always receive data from some endpoint. It's an array of objects. So this is the way. So let's hit this endpoint, not users. Okay, and then we are going, okay, let me make it a bit smaller, and then we are going to use a then thing dot then response. Any name we can take here. I'm taking response const users equal to response dot data, and dispatch. Now we will dispatch the fetch user success. Okay, and in that we will dispatch the users, and then if it is an error, so this users which we will get back from our JSON placeholder, it's an array of object, and as you can see means our users, I will show the reducer. Wait a sec. Okay, let me show it. So this reducers, this is also an array, and it will go here fetch user success and make the users as action.payload whatever we are passing it. So it works like that. So first time when I do a dispatch of fetch users request, so it dispatches the type fetch users and it comes here to the reducer and take the earlier state whatever it is, and loading it make it to true. Okay, so we can show the loading spinner at this time. Okay, so after that, and then we do this API call and get the response back, and then we dispatch the fetch user success. But you might be thinking, where is Redux Thunk? So Redux Thunk work behind the scene. So as I have told earlier, this response actually takes 1 second at least, or maybe 0.5 second. So but our Redux will not wait for that. So Redux React, they are very fast, they don't wait, they works in millisecond, they don't wait for that. So that will be an issue. We cannot do it without a middleware. So that have to work behind the scene. So it sorts of waits on it, and then only it get passed here. Fetch user success, it will get passed, or fetch user failure also it get passed. So let me create the fetch users failure also. Dot catch error is const error message equal to error dot message, not like this, and dispatch. I am dispatching here this fetch users failure. So as I've told, the API endpoint will either give me an success or a failure error message. So we'll dispatch that message from there to here. So and again it will do loading false, so we didn't got anything back, and we'll do this action.payload. And now we have to hook the last part of the cycle in the user container, because where we are going to use this state, as you know, it's a round thing, means when it is updated we are subscribed here also, and we have to do this, and we do it through, as you know, map reduce map state to props and map dispatch to props. So and our user container, we have not done anything yet, it is all empty. So let us do that. And here, because it's an API call and all, we have to use something known as use effect, and you can go through. So we are using functional component, so you have to use this use effect. So you can go through my hook series also to know how that use effect works, and then import connect from react redux So after the connect, we will have the import fetch users, import fetch users from redux. Okay, then okay, one more thing, redux, if we have done so, actually it will not get this fetch users because we have to update it in, as you might have guessed, this index comma fetch users, because it is getting it from that action creator. Okay, so fetch users from redux is there, and then user container. So we get the props. Let us destructure the props this time because we have not done destructuring for a lot of time. So we'll do this fetch users here. Instead of props, we will just destructure this fetch users, which we are going to get soon. And we have to use a use effect, because whenever we do a async call or a side effect, we need to use something known as use effect in a functional component, and the code for a class based component will be different. Means we will maybe do with a component did mount and component did update. We have to use this. So but it is much better to do it with our hooks. So in this we'll give an empty array. What does that mean? This means that we are going to do it only once, and then fetch users, and then like this, save it, and inside the return we are going to have a good logic here. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let us make this map state to props and map dispatch to props and the connect first, and then we'll come back here. Okay, so const map state to props equal to state, like this, return is like this, user data. So anything we can do, user data, and state dot user, so this actually that is there where from where that state is coming. If you want to see, that is coming from actually from here, this state, root reducer, this user we have taken, this is the global state. Okay, so this is coming from there. Okay, so let me go back, state dot user, and then const map dispatch to props equal to dispatch, and return fetch users dispatch this fetch users, like this. This is a function which we are having. Okay, and then we have to do the connect also, connect and higher order function, and here map state to props comma map dispatch to props, save it. So now our thing is done. Now we have to use it inside our here. Okay, so user data is mapped to our state.user, so we have to take the user data also, and this is also props, so we are destructuring it here also, user data, like this. Okay, so then after that return user data dot loading, then this loading, what is this loading? This loading is actually this So this loading is initially false. Okay, so and then when we do the user request, then only it becomes true, and then again it becomes false when we get the success and the failure. So we are checking whether it is true. If it is true, which will be the case when just for 1 second or 2 seconds, we will get a h2 of loading. Okay, so instead of this just a text, you can have a nice spinner component also. This is how it is done in production project. Okay, so then after that, this is user data dot error. If it is either it is loading, or if it is user data dot error, then we are again using a ternary operator here. Okay, so see this logic, it is like that. If there is if statement, and then inside the else part there is another if statement. Okay, so then if there is an error, then h2 user data dot error will be there. And then if it is not an error, as I've told, it can be when a request is done, it can be an error. If it is not an error, then what will happen? Then it will show this our div. Okay, so let me make it h2 user list div user data. Okay, these things we have to do, user data and okay, so if we are checking whether we really have the user data or not, or else it fails. So it is sometimes not required to do this much check, but it is always beneficial to do this type of check, and we will not get any problem in production. So users, so if it is successful, then we will get this users array. Okay, and we can again do and here, because we have to map through it. So we will check whether it is there. So this means whether this is, if it is empty, it will not go through. This is a short circuit operator which we are using. Okay, so dot map user, and I'm showing just the username. You can show the complete thing in a component here, user dot name. Okay, user dot name is done. So I think we are done with everything. Means there is a lot of code, and I'm worried something will fail, but it is, we'll debug it if something will fail. Okay, so fetch users also we have done. Means now it's only this, all these things we don't need right now. Okay, so let me remove all these things, and user container I'll do. So I think it is imported. Yeah, it is imported. Now moment of truth, if I save it, I am not even there. Okay, it is there. So I am getting all the user list, means everything is okay. So this is how it works. Means and action, if you want to see if something is wrong, suppose what will be the error case. So let me do this. See, request failed with status code 404. So this we got it from our server. So users, let me go back, and it is so fast that we are not seeing the loading thing, but their loading comes in slower network. If you do, the loading will come. Okay, so I have very fast internet. Okay, so actually this all completes our final part of the React Redux series. Actually you need to go through this segment, because this is the most practical example of React Redux, and it is used in these cases a lot in production. So you have to go through this example, today's videos again, but you have to go through the whole series. And please do subscribe to my channel, because I need more subscriber, more like to produce videos like this. So I have produced almost videos on every topic, so please go through them and do subscribe. Thank you.